Welcome to Red Gum BBQ. I'm owner Pitmaster Martin Goffin, and today we're going to do a tour of my pit room. So follow me. So what happens is people come into Red Gum and they come through the door, and one of the first things they see are these giant pits. So I thought it'd be worthwhile to give people a quick look around to see how they work, how they're made, so people get a bit of an understanding of what we're doing here at Red Gum. So this pit is built by Silver Creek Smokers by a chap called Paul Reitmar. And he has worked with me to create this most magnificent creature that you see in front of us. Let's start off with the firebox. So this firebox is 1 metre cubed. It's 8 mil thick. That means it can retain a lot of heat. I had the arches built on. A lot of people just have square doors. I think the arch looks really old school and cool. I like the aesthetic of a square box, much more than a round box, so that's why I got it. I also like to heat things up occasionally on top of the box, because up here is roasting. And we like to build a nice fire in there. As you can see, this is Red Gum, and you can see the draw through this pit. So you can see this fire and the flames being pulled towards the main barrel of the pit. Also, as you notice, I do not have spring handles. This is something that I requested not to have. Spring handles tend to get a bit dirty while you're cooking barbecue. I just wanted something you could just grab hold of and wipe. So that's one of the unique things to my pit. Also got a damper. On lots of Texas style offset barbecues, there's no dampers, but I wanted a damper put in just to control that airflow a bit more kind of delicately. So yeah, that's the firebox. It's a big one. Next, we're going round to the barrel. And I'll open up these doors. This barrel is an old LPG tank. This is an 800-gallon tank. It's 1.2 metres in diameter. The barbecue all in all is about 4.5 metres long. It's 10 mil thick steel. So the important thing of having really thick steel with you in your main barrel is that it retains heat. So you're not going to drop much heat if your fire dies down. So that's the really important thing with having something that's nice and thick. Also something that I believe in, I've got 2 shelves built into each door. I like to use 1 shelf. I just think it works more efficiently. A lot more of that smoke and heat gets drawn up and through. That's why I use 2. I do have the option to add a couple more in, but I tend to run it just with 1. I can get right in the back here, as you can see, all the way in the back. I can put things, line them, all my brisket up, all my pork butts, and it's easy to manage. Also at the front of my pit, I have, it's a bain-marie tray, but we fill this with water. So what's important about that is when you've got moisture in your pit, you get a smokier product. So that's why I like to have a big old water pan in the smoker. Right, these doors are 23 kilos a piece. So they're really heavy doors. I'll shut one of the doors. As you notice, I do not have counterweights. Lots of people with these big Texas offset smokers have these huge counterweights. I haven't got them on. Main reason why is that I like the aesthetic of not having them there, and I've just got to stop. So when I lift up my door, I've got that little stop there, keep pushing, and it will rest just there. If we're going all the way through, so I've got my 3 trays. I've got a big collector at the end of this pit, a huge, whopping great big one. These pits work on convection. So what's happening in that firebox, heat and the smoke is getting drawn up and it's getting pulled across all these trays to this collection point here, and then it will whip up the chimney. So this is flue. This is a 10-inch flue, which is around 250 mil diameter. These things are enormous. These create a hell of a lot of draw. And when I talk about draw, I mean it's pulling all that heat and pulling oxygen through the firebox, through the pit, and up out this chimney. That's how it basically works. This is a direct flow pit. If it was a reverse flow pit, there'd be a tuning plate that runs the length of this barrel, and the chimney would be on the far end. So heat would go along the bottom, up around the barrel, and back out the top. A lot of people you see, they have chimneys on top of their pits. What you find is, If you've got a chimney sitting on top, the heat and the smoke and everything will just rush straight up towards that chimney that's sitting at top. And instead of kind of wisping around and rolling around all your meat, it goes straight to this top area. And what I found on my reverse flows is that I was really not getting much smoke on my bottom shelf. I was getting a lot of smoke on my top shelves. So this is why I love the idea of, if I had the opportunity to build my own, let's build the collector here, so all that smoke just gets run straight through the barbecue. The only last thing that I've got going on in these pits is I've got these tuning plates. What that does is provide a bit of a barrier between the heat from the firebox and your meat. And there's a number of them, and they're spaced at different lengths and different widths from one another, slowly getting larger with the spaces as we head towards the flue. These are really simple barbecues. I wanted no bells and whistles. These were built to cook barbecue day in, day out. As you can see at the bottom of my pit here, you can get underneath there with a brush, clean it out. Nothing's in the way. It's just really a super workhorse for the restaurant. Oh. Another final thing, a couple of final things about these pits, all it's custom fabbed. So the brilliant thing about it is all my hinges, I had a say in how they looked. I've got my shark fin handles. There's no twirly bits of steel there. This has all been sandblasted back to the original steel. So there's no other paints or any lead paint stuff on here. Raw, basic barbecues, really. So as you can notice on my pits, I have no shelf in the front. Usually on lots of barbecue smokers, they have a little shelf that sticks out here so you can put meat on there while you're opening doors, loading up your smoker. Instead, what I did is that I got benches for behind the pit in front. So I go from this side into my cooker. And that's how we do it. What I found is that it was really difficult to maneuver and pick things up and change, you know, whatever I needed to do in this space. It was really difficult when there was a whopping great big shelf. Plus these are 1.2 meters in diameter. So I'd have to lean in past the shelf all the way to the back of the barbecue if something was in there that I wanted to move around. So we went for the shelf on the back, and it's just made a lot of sense for us to do it this way. So having a space which is kind of customized to cook and barbecue in this on a bigger scale has been really, really fantastic. So this is my little piece of heaven. So I hope you've enjoyed the tour of my pit room. It's a pretty spectacular space. I've got 3 custom built Silver Creek smokers built here in Australia to the highest of standards by master craftsmen. So if you like the tour, give us a thumbs up, give us a like, and I'll see you next time we make a video.